Woj, I'm sure you watched yesterday a college basketball team playing without no point guard, no go-to guy, and basically they play hard, they tried hard, but they're not very good, and the streak is over. And maybe that's not such a horrible thing, but what do you make of Michigan State this year?
Well, obviously, they were blessed for most of the last 4 years with a premier point guard in Cassius Winston and are struggling without one. I mean, college basketball today, and even the NBA, but especially college basketball, if you don't have a point guard, I mean, you don't have a team. You just, I mean, the other guys, no one knows where to go. Those turnovers down the stretch, you know, Joey Hauser and others, they're lost right now, and they can't find their way out until they figure out a point guard. Izzo thought it, you know, early on would be Rocket Watts, and that didn't really work, and he's, I mean, I think because people have been asking, why isn't he going bonkers on his team? Why isn't he, you know, ranting and raving? And he's not, because what can he do? He knows the issue. You can debate how the issue became like this. Did he miss on some recruits? Did some guys just didn't develop? But
he didn't use he didn't use the portal as well as or whatever you want to call it, like Jawan did with Mike Smith.
Right, because he had guys that he thought would take, you know, and Aaron Henry, I heard you a few minutes ago describe him correctly. He can make some plays now and then, but he's not great, and he's a little erratic, certainly. They cranked up the defense. They did play very hard last night, no doubt. Trevion Williams for Purdue is just unstoppable. But the one thing I would say about the streak, 22 years, I mean, Duke's streak could end this year, too, which is whatever.
24, 25, something like that.
Yeah. And don't yell at me on this one, okay? Don't. But don't rule out the Big Ten tournament as the safety net. Because they're almost certainly not good enough to win 4 games in 4 days. But there's going to be other teams in there that have NCAA tournament spots wrapped up. And in the COVID thing and everything else, there are going to be teams that maybe are not going to be as into it, like Michigan State. Michigan State will have the most to gain of any team in the tournament.
So they're going to be COVIDed in?
Exactly. See, or certainly able to crank it up when other teams, you know, are like, we need to take a step back because we're getting ready for the big dance. That's all I'm saying. I don't think it's still a major long shot, but that's one theory.
So Stoney mentioned what Juwan Howard has done at Michigan with the transfer portal. Do you see that as the path that Tom Izzo has to take? Because this year it's not going to happen. Next year, and I know that they've got a great recruiting class coming in, but do you need experience at that position? You don't want to rely on a freshman to come in and be your point guard.
A Hogard would probably be the...
Right, which he hasn't really, you know. And I agree with what you guys were saying earlier. Izzo is scratching and scrambling to figure out who should get playing time, and sometimes when a guy gets hot, he doesn't get back in, and he's moved around the point guard position so many times. But the thing about the transfer portal is, and having talked with Izzo about this, he's adamantly against it. He thinks it's the worst thing for, college basketball and college sports, and in some ways it's not great, but for the players that land in the right spot, it's good. Yeah, I think he's going to have to look into that. And, I mean, he did take Joey Hauser as a transfer, so perhaps he would. And I think he needs to, for sure. Just look at Michigan. They have 4 of their 5 starters are potential NBA players, but the one guy that is a huge key is the transfer, Mike Smith, the guard, and that makes a huge difference.